transition into now doing my tier list, uh, please understand that my tier list is completely based on what I think is absolutely broken. It doesn't it doesn't have to be where you agree with it. This is just what I think the state of the heroes are, and I will probably look forward to doing plenty of these as well in the future as more patches come out past once it goes early release and going forward. Um, so S tier, as I said before, and in so far in the video, I think Finn Mao is absolutely broken. I think he's the best hero in the game. He does so much for his team. He can stack champions with his R reset. It makes it very difficult. He's tanky. He does a lot of damage. He has insane mobility with his right click. It makes things very not fun for the enemy team. So I think he is overall top tier. Second, even with the changes, I'm gonna put Hautzer in S tier. I think he's still got insane range. He's still got insane damage. His R is a absolute menace in team fights when everybody is just going crazy. And it low key is a escape tool because you can use it to jump up in the air and then use it to direct yourself. So overall, I think with the nerfs coming in, a little tweaks to the damage here and there, I think he's still broken. His range is still insane because now even his longest ability is still the same range as some people's basic ability, which makes it very interesting for him and makes him feel like he's in a good place still. Uh, Third, I would say in the S tier is Gideon. I think the buffs that came to him this patch were very unnecessary. They they didn't really they made it to where now he can poke you from longer in lane and he can escape further in lane, which is absolutely insane. And I felt like it wasn't needed, but one skill immunity, why not? Uh, Next on the X tier for me is going to be Murdoch. I think this guy's insane. Like I said, you don't have to agree with me. I understand that like some people are gonna have their arguments against it. I have no issue with that. But Murdoch to me, his insane range. I've seen him literally kill people from across the map. It is what it is. I think he's S tier, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. To start off the A tier, we talked about her in the patch notes because I think she's still going to be significant. I think she's still really strong. I'm throwing Miss Gadget. She still does insane damage. The Electro Dome is really nice damage. Her Q, since it sticks to heroes, does a ton of damage. It's consistent damage once it comes off a cooldown. I don't see the nerfs that they gave her really affecting her too much in the meta. I think she's still a great pick to take either mid or support, or even in some instances, probably going APC if you want in the bot lane. But overall, I think she's there. Now, from the depths of the B tier, I will say Aurora is going to be my next A tier, potentially looking at S tier, depending on how the jungle changes go. Now, early access starts in a couple of hours my time, and I'll be able to test further and maybe do an update video on my predictions when it comes down to where these champions are going to rank, or where these heroes are going to rank. My apologies. Um, but I think Aurora, with the buffs that they gave her, the steady buffs they gave her, she will be up there. Next will be Shimby. She was already felt like broken. There's a lot of A tier, just letting y'all know. She already felt like she was broken when before the mana regen, and now it feels like she's going to be stronger. Uh, Next will be Xena. See, I it's hard to judge where Xena is going to be because I've seen her being played top and I've seen her played jungle. Jungle, I think, feels a little better than top because the attack speed steroid on the right mouse click is pretty pretty nice, especially for clear speed, as well as the now nerfs coming into jungle monsters. She'll probably have an easier time with clearing them, so she shouldn't have that big of a problem with the nerfs that came in. Her R is still very insane with the damage that it does, even to a single target, if you're around a single target. Her objective is pretty much to stall in fights. None of these changes, I think, have made it to where she can't be A tier. Grux, who received no changes this patch, I think is in a really good spot. Uh, really don't need to say more. I think his kid's very, very balanced. I think he's very strong. He provides a lot for his team, and we'll just see how it develops for him throughout the patch. After Grux, I'm going to actually put Sevarog. My reasoning for Sevarog is because I love Sevarog jungle. I love playing tanks in the jungle at times. I think they're super fun. They're super useful in what they provide at times for your team, which is a front line, especially when there's very, very high damage in every lane, what it feels like. This gives Sevarog the ability to, especially with the jungle changes, he now can clear faster. Yes, he's not going to be stacking his health with his Soul Stealer as much as you would like, so the bonus health will be a little bit low, but he still provides a lot to the team, and I think that's what really matters. So looking at it from a jungle lens, I think he's still going to be, he won't have the fastest clear speed, but I think he's still overall one of the best tanks in the game. Put him in a solo lane still, and he'd still kill it. Uh, Next would be Wong. I think the changes that they made during the patch weren't too significant to take him out of the meta from where he is. I think he's still a pretty strong top. I've seen some mid as well, but I don't know if I would recommend it myself personally. I got to play some more of them, especially mid and jungle and top, to see where I kind of feel about it. Um, Next will be Mr. Rampage himself. Uh, no changes that I remember. He's very, very strong still, because, who doesn't like throwing a boulder in someone's face and stunning them for a very long time? The fact that he can pick it up and hold it for a little while too also makes it strong, because he can kind of choose who he wants to stun, which I think is very useful. And he's also just a giant meatball, and you just can't kill him. So overall, I think it's fine. I think he's really good. There's nothing that I can really say bad about him. Next will be Revenant. I think this guy's insane. He reminds me of Jhin from League of Legends. For anyone that's played that, his fourth shot damage is kind of insane. You want to play for the fourth shot. He has insane 1v1 potential with pretty much anybody in the game, especially with his Q doing insane amounts of damage. So it'll be interesting to see, but I do believe that he is A tier worthy. Next will be FaZe. Now, FaZe got some buffs and I believe some nerfs, if I remember correctly. I didn't check all of the patch notes about her simply because I don't play mid that often. I am a jungle main. But I think even from before, she was still A tier. Nothing too big to say about this. Uh, Next will be our our nice 80 carry hero Sparrow. I think the changes that they made for her with giving her a little more movement speed and attack speed make it to where she's going to have a fun time just kind of wailing on people now. And it basically helped her out. It gave her a significant amount of use in lane, and so I think a lane with Decker and with Sparrow will cause some people to really cry. And while I'm talking about Decker, she is going to be the next in the A tier, which I have one more in the A tier after that from my initial rankings based off of what's changed in the patch notes. Decker, still good. Slow field is nice. Put people in the baby rage cage, especially when you pair it with Howitzer, is going to be insane. Can't really say anything bad about it. Uh, and rounding out the A tier will actually be Faye. Faye, with the changes that she received, now make it to where she has more movement speed, her ability has a further range, it does a little more damage, it synergizes well with other aspects of her kit. I think it's going to make her really, really strong. I think in mid she'll be viable, um, as well as having the ability to kind of duel the lights of Hauser and Gideon. So it'll be interesting to see where she plays out. Uh, to start the B tier, I'm going to put Narbash. I think he's a pretty good support. He keeps everyone healthy. I think he himself doesn't like how he has zero mobility, but it is what it is. Can't really do anything about it. But overall, I think he's a good slot in for the start of the B tier. Uh, Next, Countess. I think the ripple damage change with the CDR is going to be really, really good. I still don't know if I can put her into the A tier yet. I think she's a better jungler than she is a mid laner or top laner as an assassin, but that is to be determined. I've tried her in jungle. I really like it. I really enjoy it, but she has mana problems once early access starts. I can't wait to actually get some games on her to see how that plays out. Next, my boy Twin Blast. Absolutely love Twin Blast. I will, even though I have him in the B tier, we all love Twin Blast Jungle. I'm just kidding. Most people don't like Twin Blast Jungle. I love Twin Blast Jungle. I don't know if it's going to be strong. We'll see with the changes and with the jungle adjustments how that works out. But overall, I think he's a B tier. He's still very strong, but just not enough to bump him to A tier in my book. Next will be Steel. I think Steel offers a lot for teams. I'm simply putting supports down like B tier and lower other than Decker, simply because I think Decker offers a ton to your team. Not saying that Steel doesn't, um, but just not as much as what I feel like Decker can provide to your team. Um, Next will be to more or less round out the B tier, in my opinion, will be Bellica, simply because hitting people up with a fist to the ground, go Burr. Um, I really enjoy watching her gameplay, and she seems like she does a decent amount of damage. I think I'm gonna have to see how people play her and what the win rates kind of look like to make any type of adjustment on her going forward. And to some people, starting off my C tier, which I'll probably get some controversy for, will be Kalari. I think, and hear me out. Even though the Q change is nice, so that taking damage won't take you out of stealth, it might give you some version of a escape. Kalari, in my opinion, is one of those, if you're not super coordinated with your team, is going to be very difficult to execute from a jungle perspective. Because you go in and then you really don't have a way to get out after you've done the gank. Now, with that being said, it's about 100, 100 to 0 the person and then walk away. But if there's a situation where they saw you coming, there's a counter gank, it's just not going to work out for you. And that's my justification for her being in the C tier. Next in the C tier is going to be uh, Chimera, simply because I think Chimera will be broken once the stacks that Chimera generates from his autos for health regen don't fall off just like immediately. If it's a slow roll off with the regen, I think then it will be where he gets bumped up to an S tier champion. Until then, I just can't, in my opinion. Like I said, this is all from me, what I think the tier list looks like. By all means, feel free to comment and like and subscribe so we can talk about it some more. I'd really appreciate it to have discussions with people in my community to see what exactly they believe and how these potentially could be adjusted. Who knows? I might adjust it just because you convince me. Next will be Muriel, and that's simply because I haven't seen a lot of gameplay from Muriel. Not that many people actually play her from whenever I was playing the final playtest. So it's more results-based analysis with her. So that's why I have her sitting at C tier. And to start off the D tier, I have Mr. Wraith. Now I know there's only two heroes left, so it makes it kind of obvious. But Wraith to me seems a little underwhelming. I like the whole, distortion, move you from here to here, which is nice, and he's got the one really long range ability, and he can make people go invisible. But I still feel like his kit needs something to kind of push him up the tier list a little. Unless, there's some best Wraith main in A who wants to say otherwise. I'm going to put him in the D tier for now. Don't scold me for it. And the last one that I'm going to hold in the D tier is Seraph. Simply because Seraph to me just feels like a hero that is underwhelming. Hopefully, the changes that they made this patch will actually adjust my ranking of her. So it's something that I'm gonna have to test out myself. I want to kind of try it into the jungle to see how it plays out. So who knows? We'll see. Maybe when I do an update, all of these will change. Maybe none will be the same. Maybe some will be exactly the same and where they were. Um, but I do appreciate everyone sticking around so that everyone can hear my patch rundown and my overall tier list for where I think every hero stands on the current patch. Hopefully, going forward, I'll be able to update these as patches come out. That's my overall goal. So I look forward to talking to everyone again. Bye now.